All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Simply Cyber Firesides. I am your host, Dr. Gerald Auger, and over the next hour, we are going to be joined by a very special guest, a friend of mine. She's no stranger to the show. We had her on in the past, Jessica Hyde. She is the digital forensic examiner, educator, professor, volunteer, founder, CEO, Marine veteran. uh, let me take a breath here as the list keeps going on and on. Contributor to many things and just an absolute wonderful person. I'm so excited. I hope you are too. Jessica has just an immense level of experience and stories to share. And if you caught her last time she was on, she is a digital forensics expert and just she's super passionate about it. And the only thing I think she might be more passionate about than that is helping people break into cybersecurity, helping people be empowered to get as much education, get as much learning as they possibly can to achieve those goals, and really ultimately to help all of us drive cyber risk reduction for businesses and governments and such like that. So I hope you're excited. If you have any questions, either now or during the show, or heck, even on replay, if you're watching on replay, drop them in the chat or in the comments with a Q. I will see them, throw them over to Jessica, and she will answer them. We have already in the green room talked about parenting, government contracts, business, the state of digital forensics, and so much more. Like, it's insane the amount of stuff we covered in just 5 minutes. So I know in an hour it's going to be absolutely lit. So do me a favor, get excited, get your questions ready. Let's have it out, and let's welcome Jessica Hyde to the show. There she is, Jessica Hyde. How are you?
Hello. Are you, Jerry? Always so great. This is always so much fun. Thank you so much for having me back.
Heck yeah, I love it. I'm so glad that you were available. I know you've been traveling quite a bit. You're really busy. Since the last time you were on with us, like, what's been going on in Jessica's life?
Oh, so much. Hexordia has been super busy. So we've been writing new classes, teaching more classes. I've had, a lot of casework, court testimony. New semester started at George Mason, where I teach. A lot going on with DFIR review. Just been crazy busy, but also been on the road for all but 1 week all summer. And with that, I've gotten to see so many people. I got in at midnight. That's why today was literally the first day when we talked about it that we could get on the schedule. So excited to be both home and be with you.
I love it. Well, it's great to have you here. So, I mean, let's just kind of dive into it. I am curious, since digital forensics is always like really interesting and really fun. I took your mobile fundamentals digital forensics course not too long ago. I think maybe just a couple months ago. And, I didn't have any really professional application for it, but I found it fascinating. Just in the world of digital forensics right now, since you are doing training and you are also a practitioner, are there any kind of like trends going on right now or any kind of interesting developments that the community should know about?
Well, the big thing in mobile that's happened recently was both the advent of Graphene OS bringing in the 72-hour reboot, and then Apple following suit and introducing that in iOS, and that really being a blocker from an acquisition perspective, reducing the amount of data available at certain times, and then the cat and mouse game with the tools, with SWIG-DE, the Scientific Working Group on Digital Evidence, which I'm a member of, the rapid pumping out of position statements on how to deal with those changing environments technologically, and also the new best practices on mobile acquisition guidelines, which, if you compare what the guidelines are today versus 5 years ago, you would think that phones don't even exist anymore. These microcomputers that are in our pockets are an entirely different device, and they really are than they just were 5 years ago. I'd also say, I spend most of my time in the world of mobile and IoT. IoT is getting IoT continues to grow. There's just that many more sensors. There's that much more data available in environments, and there's that much more that needs to be done to educate folks about what those sources mean and what they could be. The misnomers that all the data is in the cloud when there's still so much data that's stored locally on devices. and how much we can get from it. I'd say those are really the big things. And then, of course, there's always just the ever changing applications, the new malware. There's the crime type changes that happen. Unfortunately, there's a lot of sextortion cases now, a lot of young people being targeted by their phones. And yeah, things just
Yeah.
keep changing.
So, I mean, to that point, it's funny. I had a friend, Charles Finfrock, who does surveillance and privacy and stuff. He came on maybe I don't know a month ago, and he was talking about a case that he had worked where a 13-year-old boy got on one of these apps, and basically threat actor pretended to be a 13-year-old girl. Let's swap pictures, and then boom, move off platform, and then boom, I'm onto you. So these are definitely happening. But one of the interesting things about that case, and I'm really curious how this plays out in your world, is that the phone, and it must have been an Android phone, I assume, but the child had like, they're like, oh, show me everything or whatever, and he like opened some app and then typed in like a calculator and did something, and it revealed a bunch of hidden apps. There was like a bunch
Oh
of hidden.
yeah. So
So how is that from a forensics perspective? How are you
so
handling those things?
So this has actually existed for a while. I think I did my first talk on like vault apps in 2016. Vault apps are used a lot by young people to hide things from their friends, their family, but they're also used by nefarious actors, people who are on probation, whose phones they get knock and talks and they have to show their devices, but also threat actors who are ransomwaring, who are encouraging minors to share images and then threatening they're going to release them and or send them to their family or whatever unless they give money. And this is the thing, they're extorting children for money. The way that a lot of these are being hidden is in what are called vault apps. And a lot of times the vault apps, the most common, like it's super common for them to look like calculators. You put in a certain equation or a certain number and it unlocks a vault. At the end of the day, if I can gain physical access to your mobile phone, create a most complete forensic image, which would be a full file system image. At that point, I have your device and I have your keys. If this is a victim, we're most likely going to have consent and a passcode. And so we're going to actually be able to recover that data. What I like to say now, not all things can be recovered 100%. But at the end of the day, what I like to tell young people when I go and I speak at schools or I speak to young people about their security on their phones is that when they delete things, when they hide these things, a lot of times what they don't realize is they're only hiding it from themselves. A person they've already shared the image with can have it in perpetuity because screenshotting is a thing. And even if the app doesn't allow screenshotting, if you think they're not screen recording, or if you think that they're not taking a picture with a secondary device, or that they don't have offline storage set up, whatever, depending on the application, they do. That's the whole reason they're asking you for the illicit imagery. Um, that content is out there forever. Luckily there is new legislation. I'm very thankful for the Take It Down Act, but it's not as simple as we would like to think it is. And the Take It Down Act might work with Meta, but it's not going to work with Mega NZ.
Yeah, yeah.
So the point is that young people need to be educated that once they create that image, and it's not just young people, there are people get scammed of all different ages. There are people who are in relationships that are consensual at first and then become non-consensual at some point, or at least the images that were shared consensually become non-consensually shared afterwards. And by no means is sextortion the only crime. It's
Hmm.
just very relevant right now. um, the problem is yeah, these apps exist, but every single app is different, and many of them we can get the data. But remember, when we have the full file system image of the phone and we have that physical access, we have the keys to the kingdom, right? So we have your key store, we have your keychain. um, if it's consent, typically, even if there needs to be cloud access for a cloud side decrypt key, you're still going to have that access. So, actually, recovering the data and being able to demonstrate what it is, yes, there are technical challenges. It's always an it depends situation, but at the end of the day, under most circumstances, we can demonstrate through evidence what's happened.
I also saw in the news recently that Signal, which to me is, like kind of a gold standard, like it's probably not your favorite from your job's perspective, but Signal's super effective, but they're going to start offering a it's a paid feature for the first time ever, but backups. I don't know if you saw that, but they're going to be offering Signal backups. It wasn't entirely clear to me. I would assume it's backing up to some cloud service that you can then pull down. But when I did see that, I was like, oh man, Jessica Hyde's probably going to be like, oh yeah,
I
I'll take
mean,
some
I'm
backups.
excited about any backups that exist. Backups from a legal perspective are fantastic because, Signal is a company that does comply with US legal return requests, right? So if there's going to be a backup that's stored, because they're a US company, they would have to provide it. But they may not be able to provide the decryption key. I don't know what the situation is going to be with some backup that's yet to exist.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, again, I'll remind you, if you can render the data on your phone by looking at it, your phone has the keys to render the data. There is the potentiality that it may need to be connected or may not, but that means if it's part of a physical exam, particularly if passcode is present, at the end of the day, that data is going to be pretty obtainable. There are so many different things that matter in mobile forensics in terms of encryption, encoding, where is the data stored? Is it server side? Is it device side? Where are the keys stored? That affects the recoverability of data. And then if things were deleted, what kind of deletions are utilized by that program? Some applications are in SQLite databases and you can carve them all day. Some are using like level DB databases where newer data you can recover deleted more easily than older data, because as the data ages, it goes through a compaction process. Um, but the data structure that's used, the type of device, the type of acquisition, the particular app, all of these, the physical hardware, the version of the operating system, how long it was till you were able to get that access and the acquisition from the time of the event, all of those variables change the availability of data. There are some things you need very quickly. Let's say cache locations in iOS. Every 7 days, it drops what's 7 days old. Um, versus and that's non-recoverable past that point, versus standard Safari history, which uses a SQLite database. And if you have a full file system image, even though it's only a 30-day history ish, there's a little nuance there. I'm not going to get into it. You will find older stuff, but it's websites that have been visited in the last 30 days that never lapsed out of 30 days. They'll have older dates, but you can carve the heck out of that SQLite database. So the point is the typical forensic answer on terms of what's difficult, what's not, is it depends, and it's always changing. And that's what I love about it. There's always new research to be done. There's always things changing. And to be honest, especially for your listeners, if you've been trying to figure out what area to get into, digital forensics is amazing because it's always changing. It's always a challenge, and we get to always deal with the newest and greatest problems.
Yeah, and when you have an advocate like Jessica Hyde telling you, it seems like it's got to be the coolest of all the fields. GRC is a close second for everybody who's in the chat right now who's wondering. But so Jessica, let's take it. Let's walk down the path. We're at the yellow brick road. It's starting to spiral out for the different career path, right? So let's start zero, day one. You happen to have some youngs that are going off to college,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So some of us might go directly workforce. Some of us might try to go 4-year degree. What did you tell your kids as they went off to college? I mean, do they want
Yeah,
to
this
be
is
different? Do they want to be like mom?
So this is a great question. So I have one kid who's environmental science. He's a freshman and he's going to the right school for him. He's excited. He's going to do forest ranger program his sophomore year and go live in the woods. And he
Nice.
wants to solve water problems and be in the field. And I love that for him. My other one, my one who's in high school, but we're in our junior year, so we're looking at colleges and talking about these things. He's on the robotics team. He's completely into this. He originally told me he wanted to go deeper. I should disclose this in this context. My husband's a red teamer, so
Okay. Oh
so
yes,
a-
yes.
and we actually take him to DEF CON every year. So if you've been to DEF CON and seen me with a kid, that's my kid. It's not just a random kid. Uh, So now there's a little bit more of it. Before it was, I want to do digital forensics. I want to do digital forensics. And I've had him take a couple of my classes and stuff. And now he's going, well, maybe I want to be more of a hacker.
Uh-oh.
And there's also but I also like engineering and I like programming and I love coding for my robot and I like building the. And so what I've advised him is I'm like, you want the most bang for your buck in terms of knowledge when you go to school. And I mean, and I'm not saying this, my undergrad's electronics engineering technology, but I told him to go double E is my advice to him. And I'll tell you why.
Double E. Ooh, that's like the smartest people I know are double E's. Marcus Kyler and chat to double E. Shout out
But
to you.
the reason I say go double E is then you're going to get the hardware exposure. You still get to code and learn the programming. And I feel like if you're going to go anywhere in this environment, if you understand how firmware works in assembly, and I guess I have this weirdness because for folks who have heard my history, I did a lot of assembly in the beginning of my career with reverse engineering assembly. Um, the I think it gives you better foundational knowledge, and I think you need to know the foundations. I think if you just go comp sci and go programming, you get to learn how to code and code in a lot of different languages, but it's really getting the most basic understandings about hardware, firmware, and software that's going to give you the biggest opportunity when all of the hacking is interesting, that you really then give yourself the biggest opportunity as a cybersecurity professional. Now, you are right. Electrical engineering is a very, very hard degree program. It's a lot of math. It winds up a lot of times being a 5-year, not a 4-year. And I recognize that's not for everybody. And that's okay. If you get into cybersecurity from MIS or you get into cybersecurity from a boot camp or a comp sci program or electrical engineering, that's fine. I'm just saying my advice to my kid was to get the best foundation. And from a technical perspective, I really think that in today's age, that electrical engineering is going to give them a better foundation than comp sci.
Yeah, that is a hot take.
I
So
know, and I'm probably got people yelling at me.
Well, so two things. One, I'm curious what people think about whether double E or I mean, so I wouldn't disagree with you. I do think double E is a great education and would set you up. I also think computer science is a great
It's
education
a
and
great
sets you up.
education. There's nothing wrong with comp sci. My brother has a comp sci degree. There's nothing wrong with a comp
Yeah.
sci degree. Now, I will tell you my super hot take is I
Okay.
do think it is better to have if we're talking going going to university and getting a degree program, and this is super controversial because I have interns who I've hired out of computer forensics programs who have their bachelor's in computer forensics. But if I wanted to get the most bang for my buck and have the best understanding, I would say do comp sci or EE before doing a cybersecurity specific degree or a DFIR degree or any of those degrees. I think cybersecurity and D4, a digital forensics degree or any of the other specialty degrees are really good master's programs and really good ways to dig in if you're going for a secondary degree and doing that once your employer is paying for it. But if you're going for your first undergrad degree, if you get the maximum amount of technical knowledge, that's going to suit you the best. Now, 100% completely support. And like I said, I've hired people, I have amazing team members throughout my career. In all kinds of programs, and they're all valid, right? However gets you in, and that's okay. And I also understand there's more math in an EE program than you're going to use in a cybersecurity career, right?
Yep.
You,
Oh
I,
yeah.
I don't use DFIQ every day, but you know what I do? I do bin and hex conversions all the time. I have to know how to XOR things, right? Like those things I need to understand. I need to deal with little endian and big endian data. I need to deal with, I mean, because I work in hexadecimal a lot. I deal with a lot of conversions of timestamps and trying to understand data formats. But more of what I do is pattern recognition than calculus. Never
Yeah.
touch calculus, right? So the point being that it is important, though, I think, to have a strong understanding of how things work. But at the end of the day, If you get a cybersecurity degree, or you get a criminal justice degree, or you get a history degree, I've worked with amazing examiners who I love, who are top of their field, who were history majors. And you know what? That's okay too. Actually, the part that matters the most is why I said I like the engineering degree. It's because you figure out how things work. So if you're the kind of person who it doesn't matter, you figure out how things work, you tear things down, figure out how they work, put them back together and want to understand, they're good.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Especially like in the job market, like when you go to apply, some places might be like, do you have a bachelor's degree? Yes or no. It doesn't matter technically what it's in.
It depends, right? So a
It
lot of the
does.
government jobs, some of the government organizations, they do require it to be a school that is accepted in terms of an engineering program or a comp sci program. So some places do. But at the end of the day, most of the time it's do you have a degree? But the second hot take I'm going to give you is
Third.
you will not, or third
Yeah.
hot take, you will not get a degree job because you have a degree.
Oh yeah. No,
Having a
you're
degree
like,
alone is not where you need to be. Like, the degree is minimum bar because a lot of jobs have that checkbox that says you need a bachelor's. So I'm saying if you're going to get a bachelor's, you might as well get one that has you understanding how things work or how to think. And actually, I don't mind anything that sets up a how to think mindset, if that
yeah,
makes
no,
sense.
Jessica, we're gonna have to get you like somebody grab Jessica a torch. Like you're towing the party line over here about
Oh,
all these
good.
hot takes. Like we're regularly yelling these things as well. Like
Perfect.
in chat, like Tyler Ramsby, shout out Tyler, has like a point to that as well. Like degrees help you with entry level stuff. They give you exposure. I would argue
It's
that
a
a
check in the
bachelor's
box.
teaches you how to learn.
How to learn. Yeah. So, I mean, there are three things you need to get a job, right? Typically, and the first two are just because HR needs checks in the box, and this is how they're going to write them, which
Okay.
is a degree and a cert. It is negotiable what those degrees and certs are. You know,
Hmm.
let it be your A plus and your bachelor's in criminal justice or your bachelor's in history. That's fine. You got the check, right? It might weed out certain companies, but for the most part, check. The third thing is the most important, and that is a demonstrable. What matters is that you can show that you know how to think, how to do independent work, that you can write up what you can work, and that you can, and this is what I care about, that you can understand problems that have never existed before, that you can address a new problem related to cybersecurity. Because I don't care if you're a pen tester going after 0 days, guess what? That's new and novel work. Or if you're a digital forensics examiner trying to get into a device that's brand new, that's never been gotten into before, or trying to reverse engineer malware that's never seen before, the common thread in our field, or you're dealing with some new freaking standard that just got written yesterday, the common thread is that we have to evolve at the rate of technology and deal with problems that have never been seen before. What is the coolest thing about this? Ready for hot take number four?
Bring it.
Hot take number four is if your job is to figure out things that never have been done before, AI can't do that. AI's job is to understand things based on what it knows, the difference between a human and what can be automated. And there will be jobs in cybersecurity that are automated. They're the things that come from the world of existing knowledge. The things that come from the world of knowledge that is yet to exist because it's challenging new things, that's where you want to be.
I love it. Oh yeah, no, like let the hot takes wash over us. I will say there's a lot of people in chat. Like Tyler has a theology degree. Luke Canfield says
Yes.
he has a geography degree, working in the field.
And
Um,
let me say something else. I will
mhm.
say the most important thing for me on a team, I don't want a team of all people who had comp sci or all people at EE. Please excuse the cough drop. That's so I'm not coughing on the air. But I did just throw something in my mouth while I was talking, so I'm trying not to be rude. Um, the comp sci degree, the EE degree, sure, that's all well and good. But if I have a whole team of those people, they all think the same. Again, what's the criticality? I want my team to be able to solve problems that have never been solved before. If we're talking about solving problems that have never been solved before, I want a team of people with different backgrounds because their perspective as to how to solve the problem is going to come from a different basis. And the more diversity of thought we have, the better. And diversity of thought, literally from the backgrounds of things we've learned and how we've studied, because all of those programs teach different methods of addressing problems.
I love it. Yeah, to keep them coming in. If you work in the industry and you have a degree
Yes.
that's not comp sci or EE, put them in chat. Alice Grimm
No,
will
and
be
I
happy.
love them. I want all the different degrees. Now, admittedly, I still teach at a university, right? So I
So
teach in
do
a
I.
traditional, yeah, we both teach in the traditional educational spectrum, but I don't think that that's always what's needed.
Yeah,
And
and
not all education programs are equal.
yes, 100%, 100%. So I want to move from college onward, but
Oh,
because
can we talk about how to evaluate what program's right for you? Like
yes,
not the
100%.
actual degree, but which school to go to once you
Okay,
know what you
let's
want to study?
talk about it.
I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Like this is
This
great.
is
Like I
actually
like
something me and another examiner were discussing the other day,
yeah,
what we
no,
were
let's
talking
have it.
about.
What do you got?
All
Like
right.
you're sending your kid off to school. You're sitting and looking at all these pamphlets. What's your rubric here?
So which program do you pick? Well, first off, do you want to become a teacher in whatever it is, or do you want to become a practitioner? Because the number one thing that matters is who you're learning from. So if you want to be a practitioner, look for schools where the people in the field are the practitioners or they do the research in the things you want to do. Go look up the professors. Don't just read their bio on the site. Go to Google Scholar, see what research they've done, and go and look at their LinkedIn and figure out where they work and what they do. Because it's not the education you're going to get in the classroom that's most important, it's also their network and who they know and what
Yes.
they know and their experience from being a practitioner in the field. So if you can pick a program where the professors are practitioners, if you want to be a practitioner, gold. If you pick a program where the professor hasn't actively worked in the field in 30 years, maybe that's not the right person unless they publish a lot and you want to be a PhD who just publishes, not a PhD practitioner. There are mixes of people who have degrees in practitioner. But what I'm saying is if you want to be a practitioner, learn from practitioners and look at the people who teach at the school. Are these the people who are going to give you the network you want? Because sometimes there are teachers who just teach. And I will say there are programs where the teachers who teach the program do not write their own curriculum and they aren't experts in that field. They are people who are taught to teach that course.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
And so
experts at educating.
they're
Yeah.
experts at educating, which is fine. You can be an educational expert, and I'm fine if an educational expert teaches me a non core topic in my field. But I want the people, if I am going to study specifically cyber risk, I want people who have implemented cyber risk strategies teaching me.
Oh yeah. Jessica, are you flirting with me right now? Talking
That
about
was not
cyber risk?
flirting with you.
No,
But
it's
I'm
good.
talking to you, so I have to put it in your world. And I also recognize that not everybody here is a D for person. So
Yeah, no, I get it. You know what's another interesting hot take? Org Chaos puts out something that I agree wholeheartedly, and I encourage my cadets to do this. Like,
yes.
this isn't high school. You don't just show up and do the minimum and get passed on to the next grade. You have to do this.
Okay. Next hot take. Go to fucking office hours. Oh, sorry,
Uh,
I'm not supposed to curse.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Well, yeah,
You
that's
bleep
okay.
me. I'll try not to. Please go to office hours. Please meet your professors. If you've gone to the business of making sure that you're going to a school where the educators are people you want to know, let them get to know you and not just through your exams. Ask them questions. Going to office hours are not just if you need help studying for the exam or you need help. You should be going to office hours to get to know your professors and learn about the field and learn about what you're getting into. You will get the best advice in that moment.
Yeah, and that is like you know what I'm going to do, Jessica? I'm actually going to snip that and make that a short on YouTube because that's so important. Like it's so true. And you know the thing is that's really tough is that I tell the cadets I'm like or I tell anyone who listened to me to do that and it's like, like that seems like a lot of extra work. And it's like, bro, like the field is work. Like there's no easy button here. What
Oh,
are we talking about?
well, what was it? Or did chaos said exactly there? You get what you put in. And let me tell you, this field, all of cybersecurity is competitive. And like I said, just having a degree and just having the cert is not going to get you the job. It's what you do that's beyond that that actually gets you in the door. Okay? You are competing. Be competitive. And I know nobody wants to hear that you have to do more than your 40 hours or that you have to do more. I'm sorry, you're competing, right? What is it that they say in sports? Everyone else takes 10 shots, take 11.
Mhm.
And I'm
Yeah.
not saying you have to put how much is office hours? 15 minutes of your time? take that 15 minutes. The professor is willing to give it to you. Take that 15 minutes. Now, if any of my students from this term that just started, and also not only did I just send a kid to college, I also am a professor in a new semester just started. So that's why uni's in my brain right now. So we can go past uni because many of your listeners probably already have degrees, or that's not their point. I mean, you can lat move into these fields. I loved it right after COVID because I had a whole bunch of people who lat moved into digital forensics
Yep.
from like healthcare and teaching and all these other professions that were experiencing a super high rate of burnout at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. And even though maybe some of the audience is not deciding to go to university, they might have kids who are, or one thing that I champion is that, like, get this knowledge and then share it with your friends and network. It's good, sound knowledge.
And the
So
people
it's
you're
spreading the word.
mentoring. And the people you're mentoring, right? I'm this really big believer. If you know the letter A, teach the letter A. If you know the letter B, teach the letter B. So I don't care if you're a student who's still learning, you should be mentoring and being mentored at every part of your career. So I don't care if you are in your second or third week of school, there is somebody who knows less than you about something, and you should be sharing with them, and you should be learning from others, because it is a continual cycle of what you put out that makes the world better. And that's what it's all about, right? All of these jobs in cybersecurity, our job is to protect and make things better. So we are already people who are both nerdy and care about making things better. So we should care about our fellow humans, right? The the I will tell you, I had a conversation with another examiner late last night at the airport, and the conversation was, I've never met anyone in this field I didn't like, because everyone cares so much about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Everybody loves what they're doing. Everybody nerds out about it. And we all are in this just to make, the one thing that we know how to do, take some skill we have and make things a little bit better. And if everybody's mental mindset is like that, the thing we need to think about is I had an examiner I knew, Richie Cyrus. He told me his mom told him this, and it's one of my favorite expressions. It's our responsibility to send the elevator back down.
Oh, that's
Right?
wisdom right there.
Send the elevator back down. And so, I mean, that's why I love what you do here with Simply Cyber, because you are constantly, encouraging others and bringing different resources and different things to your audience and they're doing it for each other. I see it right now in the chat as
Yeah.
I'm seeing this stuff fly by. I'm watching them all lift each other up. And that's what it's about. So if you know the letter A, teach the letter A.
Yeah, heck yeah, I love it, and yeah, the community is amazing. I'm so blessed. I tell them I stream every morning, and it's not uncommon for me to let them know how appreciative I am of them. But real quick before we move into graduating or
Moving on to,
doing a
yeah.
lat move, I do want to point out one thing, only because I might forget later. You mentioned that you go to DEF CON regularly,
Heck yeah.
with as a family excursion. I just want to let you know, every year, Jessica, we host a party, and this is this year's team photo.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yep,
I love
it
it.
was good. A lot of friends who are actually in chat right now are in this picture. I see Marcus Kyler dead center there. Luke Canfield's over here. So yeah,
Is this a brewery? I
yeah,
see
yeah,
I see
yeah. It's a
the
brewery.
fermenting machine thing there. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
a
what you call it.
brewery in Vegas there. It
That's
was
so
slightly
cool.
off strip. We had a good time. It was probably, like all said, like maybe 200 people there. I don't think all 200 are in the photo, but yeah. Anyways, please, next year there will be another one, and I hope you can attend. It'll be on the Friday of
I'll
DEF
try.
CON, so you
I'll
you
try.
should be there. You have an evergreen
Oh,
ticket.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, so we're talking with Jessica Hyde, who's pretty much the most BA digital forensics person in
Oh,
the industry, and that's me qualifying it. So she might push
please
back and be
don't.
a bit modest, but she's an amazing person, and she's here answering any and all questions about different careers, among other things. So we just talked about university, right, and degree programs and whatnot. So let's move kind of into the early junior part of career. From a lat move, LinkedIn question from Dinan or Dinyan. He wants to know, any certs to get into cyber field for non-IT guys. So what do you think about certifications as part of like that junior level application for candidacy?
Okay. There are multiple different types of certs out there. My most generic statement is look at the job you want to have in 3 years, look at what cert that requires, and that's the cert you should be studying for. I'm going to give a caveat. If that is a cert that costs 10K to get, that is not the cert you should get. That is a cert. If a cert costs 10K, they expect you to have a job when you get it. And they expect your job to be paying for it. So if what you're running up against is an extraordinarily expensive cert, okay, go a step down. Now, I'm going to give the weird caveat that if the cert you need for the job is 10K, this is a sign that the job you're looking at might not be the entry level or the lat move job. And I know that's a really weird perspective, but that's what I've started to realize as I've talked to my mentees. Because yes, a lot of the like digital forensics roles, the most common cert you're going to see is either a tool vendor cert where the tools cost 20K, so you're not getting that cert, okay? Or it's a GX cert, which I love SANS courses. They're fantastic. I have GX certs. However, they really get that once you're in the field or get into one of their work study programs or one of their other programs to get down that road. What you want to think about before you have a job and before you have income in this field at that point is you want to go, wait a second. So maybe the digital forensics cert needing to either require me to own an expensive tool. Now, this is not true. There are digital forensic certs that are low cost, and I want to be CCDFA is one, for example, which is Cyber 5W cert. But Blue Team Cyber, there are certs that are not as high a threshold. However, if it may be a sign, especially the certs that are being requested in your region in the job you want, maybe it's a sign that your occupation is really a second job in cyber role. And I say that, and if you aren't getting bites, you need to consider the SOC and the help desk. And I'm going to tell you why. There aren't jobs that say, I want somebody with 0 to 1 years. No, job postings say 3 to 5 typically for junior positions. Guess what? That 3 to 5 years, if you were in the security operations center or you were in the IT desk, organizations will wrongly title positions entry level. That's right. That's what I'm saying. I think that what you need to do is gain that experience in a help desk role, a SOC role, because you can start checking off those skills and start building your resume full of things that you know how to do that are things that they want in those higher level jobs. If you can explain something you troubleshoot as part of your daily job, if you can explain anything you're doing that is networking related, guess what? IT and SOC will get you that. And a lot of the tools are the same. So what I'm saying is maybe the right way to go. You've got the degree. Maybe if you're trying to look for that first cert, maybe Sec Plus or A Plus, which are a lower cost barrier to entry, or then whatever Sec Plus is doing with their new Sec X. That's a whole nother thing. That's more of a management thing. So we won't go into that. I don't even want to go there. Let's not even open that thing. So let's say Sec Plus. Those are good starting certificates to get into those first roles. Now, the entire time you are in that job, your job is not just to do that 40-hour job. Now you need the demonstrable in the next field. So specifically in digital forensics is easy, okay? Well, it's not easy, but I'm going to tell you why it's easy. I'm going to say this part is easy. Forensics is really, really hard, but it's easy because there's lots of free tools that are out there. There's lots of free training. Check out D4Diva's site, d4diva.com.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Go find out all the free resources. Go get free training. Go get access to all the open source tools, the volatilities, the autopsy. And here's what's easy. It's easy to find something nobody's ever done before. Why? You know how many apps there are between the Android App Store, Google Play, and the iOS App Store? Take a guess.
200,000.
6 million.
Oh my God.
Okay. Do you want to know how many apps are commercially supported? About 2,000.
Wow.
So that gives you about 5 million apps you can research. And if the first 3 you run into are encrypted, the fourth one won't be. There are so many things you could be testing and so many things that people don't think about where crimes are happening. We talked earlier about the sextortion. Where are people first approaching kids? On video games. Mm-hmm. Why aren't you trying to parse a video games chat app? Now, that's really cool because that means in your testing data, all you've got to do is play a game and chat with yourself between 2 different devices. And they can be emulators. You don't have to spend money. And you can look at, like, we have a free class that teaches you how to do testing. You can take that class, learn how to do testing, and start writing up your own testing. Start a blog, with your own research, if you can write yourself a Python script to parse it, and maybe even for one of the big open source frameworks, you now have on your resume, you had that IT help desk job for 1 year, you've got a degree, oh, and you have a blog with brand new research you did, that demonstrable is what gets you hired. The
Yeah,
other
that
two are
sounds like
just
a
checks
pretty
in the
solid.
box. The other two are just checks in the box. The demonstrable is what gets you hired. And you know what? If you do that demonstrable and I'm interviewing you, do you think I'm asking you what a shim cache is? No, I'm asking you about your research. That's a hell of a lot more interesting
Yeah.
than me saying, do you know the difference between a prefetch and a link file?
Explain to me the TCP handshake. Go.
Right, exactly. I don't, is that the question you want to be asking? Do you want to be having somebody explain Synac to you? No. What you want is somebody to be telling you about how they think, because that's what I'm evaluating in an interview anyway. Because again, what's the goal? People who can solve problems that have never been solved before.
Yeah. So, really quick, Jessica mentioned Differ Diva. This resource is a banger. You can see it right here. I'll drop a link in chat. This is DFIR, Diva Differ Diva. This is Alon Wright's website. She's been doing this for years and just keeping it nice and clean and super powerful. But there's like free resources, free training books, YouTube's. Like you can, like if you're looking for like a casebook study of what falling down a rabbit hole is, go to Differ Diva and I'll talk to you on Sunday because you're not coming out until then. It's such a good resource.
So can we talk about Sundays?
Oh,
Jessica,
yeah, okay,
what
but
are
I'm
you
not
talking
done.
about?
I
I was going to
wanted
give
to,
another resource. Oh,
oh,
you want to talk about
I
my
wanted to share you mentioned your training as well. So
Yeah.
if you want also, Jessica's company Hexordia has training as well. And like you had mentioned, free training and doing other
Scroll
things.
to the
You have
bottom of
some,
mobile. Yeah, scroll to the bottom. It's out the bottom of
you
the
have
free one.
some
Yeah,
paid
there's all the
training,
free
but you
ones.
also have, look at this. Actually you have it in Spanish as well. Is that it?
Yeah, we just released Mobile Forensics Fundamentals 1 and 2 in Spanish. Yeah.
There you go. So not
En
only is
español.
she like awesome, but also inclusive, very, very aligned with Simply Cyber's core values, but mobile device presentation, preservation, excuse me, mobile forensics 1 and 2, which I've taken 1, and it's a fun class. It's fun. It's educational. It's interesting. So I'll drop links to both of those. But now that I've done that, Jessica, feel free to tear the Band-Aid off that next one that you wanted to rip
Yeah, so
into.
you mentioned Sunday, and this is really cool because if you're looking like, well, what happens in DFIR? I don't even know if I want to get interested in DFIR. So there is a really cool examiner out of Australia. His name is Phil Moore, Phill. He's a double L Phil, and he has a site called thisweekin4n6.com.
Okay, we're gonna pull that up. This
Yes,
week in
you are.
4 and 6. Hold on, I'm trying
.com.
to get all
Yeah.
these links down. Here we go.
I know I'm such a pain in the batuchas. I should have given you
This
I
week
should have
in
given him to you ahead of time.
4 and 6. Okay, here we go. I got it.
But I
Okay.
never
Oh
know what
yeah.
we're gonna say. All
Here we
right.
go.
So what Phil does is for the last, I don't know, almost 10 years, every single week. Go ahead and click on week 36, 2025.
I just want to go full screen so
Yeah,
it
yeah,
looks
yeah.
cleaner.
Click in that first week. So for the last 10 years, he does this every week. If you scroll down, he gives you everything that the communities put out that week. There's usually about 200 things. So
Oh my
you can
God.
start looking through what's come out in threat intelligence, what's come out in forensics, what's come out from forensics tooling, what's come out in podcasts. Also, different learners learn different ways. There are tons of podcasts, there are tons of videos. So this is what the community puts out every single week. And on the left-hand side, you can see it just goes on forever because he's done this every single week for years and years and years. And so you can just start poking around and saying, what's interesting to me?
Oh my God.
And
Look
you'll
at
see, oh, look at that. Because it's DFIR related.
I had no
I didn't
idea.
even look at that.
This is your stream that we're on right now.
Look at that. So
That's
that's
very
I didn't even.
cool.
So yeah. So Phil must have picked that up from my RSS or something. And so then as you keep going,
Oh,
you'll see. See, that's all this last week.
yeah. That's a lot of stuff for.
So, but the point is, just look for that. That's now this is presentation. So if you rather just consume a presentation, and here's malware.
Oh,
So
look at this. I know
yeah,
Josh.
I
Josh
know
is a good
Josh
friend.
too.
Yeah.
You introduced me to Josh, and then
Oh.
I met Josh when I was volunteering at Dakota State University this year. So
Oh, I didn't know you volunteered there. Yeah, I love DSU.
I volunteer for Cyber, where
Oh
it's
yeah, yeah.
it's a
Do you know
summer
Kyle
camp.
Cronin then?
No, but
Oh, okay.
so Mary Hovarth, from the who's one of the founders of our
Mhm.
industry from FBI CART in digital forensics. Her and I go out there for Cyber, and we do a whole digital forensics unit for all these middle school girls and teach them about digital forensics. And Josh happened to be part of a big ribbon cutting ceremony that was there. And so he's on the stage. I didn't know he was there. He didn't know I was there. And suddenly he's giving a talk and I'm sitting there. And so as soon as he was done, I was like, Josh, he's like, oh, Jessica. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was kind of cool. So yeah.
Dude, I tell people all the time, I'm like, you have no idea how small cybersecurity is.
It's
And people are like,
so
what are you
small.
talking about?
And do you think I expected to run into him when I was in Madison, South Dakota? No.
Yep.
You will run into
Exactly. Who
people
knew?
everywhere, right? So
I'm just dropping a link here to This Week in 4 and 6.
yes.
Just amazing resources. So this is every Sunday, you said this drops?
Every single Sunday. So he finishes it before he goes to bed on Sunday night, but he's in Sydney. So if you're in the North America, that'll be your Sunday morning. So to me, I remember my parents reading the paper and doing the crossword puzzle on Sunday morning. I sit down with my laptop and read through the articles I like from there. That's my version of going through the Sunday paper, is I read This Week in 4 and 6.
Yeah,
I obviously do not read all 200 articles, but
no.
I go through and I
This is
select
just,
the ones that sing to me.
yeah, it's almost overwhelming. It's like telling someone you like cake and they bring you like the entire Cheesecake Factory dessert menu and you're like, oh my God.
But the good thing is they are by categories. And what I use that as the digest of this is what's happened this week in forensics, so aptly named. And then I go and pick the resource that makes sense for me. And so my deal is, if you want to break into this field, go there and pick one article a week. Just read one. That's all I'm asking. I don't want you to eat the whole elephant.
Yeah.
I just want you to take a bite of the ear. So just pick one article from This Week in Forensics. So if I were like, hey, I'm lat moving, what's my plan of study? All right, here's what I would do. You're going to do 3 things a week. Okay. You're going to read one article about what's new in forensics. Gosh forbid you should be able to have a conversation about something new in the field if you go to a B-sides event in your local area.
Yeah.
and be able to have a conversation about something new in the industry with somebody who exists in the industry. You're going to just make a friend and you're going to grow your connections. And you're going to know what's going on. It might not even make sense at first. Like if you're doing this and it's your day one of figuring out what DFIR is, that article might not make sense. But over time, the language, what's in there, and then you'll start to find out what you gravitate towards, because digital forensics is a very large topic. I don't know everything about digital forensics. I don't know anything even about mobile forensics because it's always changing. The best thing is I'll never know everything. I never will. It's great. The best boon is that you've always got to figure out new stuff. So number 1, read one article a week. Number 2, you are going to spend at least 30 minutes working on something educational that's outside of your school program or your job. 30 minutes a week. So far I've asked you for about 45 minutes. And then I want 1 hour on your demonstrable. So 1 hour towards your project. So I'm saying in under 2 hours a week, in a year, you will have done more than anybody else and you'll be competitive, right? So 1 article a week, this is minimum. You'll start to do more accidentally because you'll just be interested. 1 article a week, 30 minutes towards, and there's enough free training out there that if you just peruse D4 Diva's site and spend 30 minutes a week on some free training, you'll start to get there. 30 minutes free training, 15 or paid, whatever works for you, right? Wherever you are in your journey, 15 minutes article, 30 minutes training, 1 hour towards your project. That 1 hour could be trying to figure out what your project is, creating test data, writing your test plan, creating your acquisition, sniffing the network, whatever it is. Or it could be doing your documentation, writing it up, starting the blog, whatever it is. If you do those 3 things, you'll be knowledgeable for the interview, you'll be knowledgeable for networking conversations, and you'll, by the end of the year, have a demonstrable on your resume and, training that you can list as well. Your CV is going to be nice by the end of 1 year.
Yeah, and honestly,
for no money. That's no money.
Yeah, no, what you're saying is 100% accurate. And I just want people to know, if you're getting all geeked up and excited about what Jessica's saying, you should, because it's awesome and she's 100% right. The one thing I say is, like, ideas are easy, execution's hard. Like the 2 hours a week, like you can do it. It's just, you have to do it next week and the week after. And in 4 weeks, when you're like, I don't really want to, you got to.
Or associate it with something else. Maybe you're not a reader. Maybe you do go to the gym every day, or maybe you cook dinner every day. Well, you know what? There's a podcast section in Phil Moore's blog there. Go listen to one of those podcasts while you cook dinner or while you work out. Take something that you're going to do anyway and double team it. That way you're putting a habit with an existing habit. Then you have no excuse. Now I made it a habit. Sorry.
No, it's
You
awesome.
said make it a
Okay.
habit. Let's make it a habit.
All right. So now, if you're following us, this is Jessica Hyde, and she's been taking us kind of through a career arc, which I love. We started at university. So if you just jumped on the stream, go back and watch that after the stream's over.
Ooh,
Just
can we
go
look
ahead.
at a question I just saw?
Yeah,
Somebody wrote, Jessica, can a 56-year-old with some IT experience start a career in
yeah, we can
cybersecurity
do
slash
that. I was going to
DFIR?
end with that
Heck
one since
yeah.
that would be the.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I got
No,
so
no, it's
excited by
okay,
that
but we'll
question.
do it right now because it's great. Listen, really
Sorry.
quick, as a programming note, Hypoxic GG, if you're watching on LinkedIn, I cannot post the links on LinkedIn. That's why I'm showing them and saying them. You can also just come to Simply Cyber's YouTube channel and get in the chat over there. It's a much better experience. So, all right, so we're working, we got our job, we've put in a bunch of time, and we're a little bit older, or maybe we worked in a different field and we're a little bit older and we're going to lat move. So, Jessica, Olu wants to know, can you be too old? He's got some IT experience. He wants to get into differ. What do you say?
I think that you can do it as long as you are still willing to learn new tricks, right? There's the old song that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I think that's bull. I think even as you're more senior, and I'm going to tell you what you need to do is show the relation of your prior type of work to what you're doing now. But again, you need that demonstrable and you need to demonstrate the education. I'll say the demonstrable is the most important part. Now, I have known folks, I've accidentally talked two different neighbors in my life into accidentally studying DFIR. I mean, just because I'm so passionate about what I do, and so I'll be blabbing with them and telling them about, things in digital forensics, and the next thing I know, they're like, "So Jessica, I've decided I don't want to work in healthcare anymore. Jessica, I decided I no longer want to work in education, and I've signed up to go to Champlain College, or I actually just enrolled in your class at GMU." This has happened to me, and both of those people were midlife career switchers. Yes, one of them in their 50s, and they have been working in the field, each one for 5 years and one for 10 years now. So, yes, I've seen it. And it's just because they got the itch. And you know what? They did all those things. They got themselves a demonstrable, they got themselves some education, and they went with it. But again, just getting the cert and just getting education is not enough.
And we've got case study to prove it. Our friend from Australia, Rywensky, nearly 50, just celebrating his second year in the field. You can do it.
You
That's
just
right.
got to be willing to learn new things and put in the time and the work. Now, again, DFIR might not be your entry level, but you already work in IT. The first question. Oh,
Yep.
you've just got to. I'm going to give you the other hint though on a resume. Don't make your resume look too senior. You don't need to put anything past 10 years. All right. Only put the last 10 years of your career if you are lat moving at 50. I would also say there's things you should be doing in a resume that are really important. And my number one tip I give my mentees is I have this structure where we're going to write out our tools that we know, we're going to write out our technical skills, but we're going to categorize them two different ways: familiar and proficient. And you should be able to list then things that you're familiar with and then you're proficient with. Familiar, you've touched it once, you've played with it. Proficient, you could teach someone else how to use it. And if you literally categorize both those things, the problem is a lot of people are afraid to list things they're familiar with, and then they don't get past the checks. But if you correctly categorize it and you say on your resume, I'm only familiar with this tool, that is a really good way, or I'm only familiar with this technology or methodology. That is a really good way to demonstrate that you have been exposed to it, but you're not the person who's going to teach it or lead it. And I think it gives a fair and accurate way to represent that in a positive way on your resume.
Our friend Rywinski, celebrating his second year, had a question. That's why I knew he was from Australia. He
Oh,
wants to know what kind of certs and training have the most hands-on labs that you would recommend. And he names a couple here. He's got Sec Plus, Blue Team Lab 1, about to complete Blue Team Level 2, Thinking OSCP.
I'm
Yeah, go ahead.
Rowinski, I'm going to give you that same piece of advice I said earlier, especially if you're changing where you are geographically. you need to look. Oh, morning from Australia. That's in moving from Australia. Morning from Australia. Oh, I'm so happy it's morning. I love it. And see, I made a big shout out to Phil from Sydney.
Exactly. I was
So
going to
yeah,
make that
so
like the
makes me really
transition.
happy. Rowinski, 100%. Just look for what are the certs in your area, and I think that training with hands-on is the key. And that you should be looking for trainings that have hands-on components. Cyber 5W has a lot of free and low-cost options that have hands-on. We have a lot of those free entry level, or a couple of those that are hands-on. But D for Diva, again, just look for the things that have practicals. If it has labs, do it. If it's just death by PowerPoint, not my jam. But that's me personally. Different people learn different ways. But hands-on is what you want because you want to be a practitioner, not a theorist. I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been talking with Jessica. Jessica, we've got 5 minutes till
Oh my
5:30.
gosh,
I
I'm
don't know if you have.
sorry.
I know it goes quick. I do have a couple more questions. So
Let's
if
go.
you,
Let's go. Rapid
okay,
fire.
cool. So we're talking with Jessica Hyde here, differ extraordinaire. It's going to get more and more extreme. The adjective to describe your differ experience here as we go. But we went through kind of early phase career, moving on. So when you start getting to your most senior level, and I'm just going to let chat know this is a personal question that I wanted to ask her, and I want to wait till we're on stream. When you become really seasoned and really expert, in some cases, you might be asked to testify in court because you are an expert. Now, I know you have been asked to testify in the past in proceedings, and we hear this called a subject matter expert, right? Sometimes you have psychologists, sometimes you have Marissa Tomei from My Cousin Vinny, who
Oh,
knew
that's
about
such a good example.
right? Okay, so you've done it. I've never done it, right? And sometimes it gets romanticized because you just walk up, you sit down, you drop some knowledge bombs, and you screw out of there. What is the reality of being I guess, what is it, subject matter expert? Or is that the term we use here?
Expert witness
Expert witness, that's it.
would be so there's two types of witnesses. An expert witness under the law is something that's defined legally, what you have to be, and you have to be judged to be an expert witness. So the court has to deem you an expert witness, and it would be different in each state and federal or country. So
Is
you
that, I'm
are
sorry to interrupt. Is that like a certification you get? Like
not
you
a certification. It's that a court in that state has looked at your CV. By the way, a CV, your curriculum vitae, or your which is your folding, not just the resume you turn in, but everything you've ever done. That is a living document. I own my own company. I'm never trying to work for anybody else ever again. But I update my CV every 2 weeks, and everyone here is always learning something. You should have something to add every single time. So your CV gets submitted to the court, and then they may do a voir dire. They may actually call you up and ask you about your experience, and then you're deemed an expert. So in some courts, you start as a fact witness, and then you cannot give an opinion in court unless you've been deemed an expert witness. That's the big delineator. So
okay?
once you're asked to give an opinion, if the court accepts your delivery of an opinion, you are now an expert in that state. So, or in the federal court as applicable.
Okay.
So that is what makes you an expert witness. And testifying as an expert witness is different than a fact witness. A fact witness is somebody who knows something about the case. So it literally could be an eyewitness or someone who was there. An expert witness is somebody who the trier of fact, and trier of fact could be a judge or a jury, depending on if it's a bench trial or a hearing versus a jury trial. And the trier of fact is relying upon your expertise and experience to testify. Now, there is nothing romantic about testifying. Number one, it
Okay.
is there is so much preparation that goes in because you have to make sure that you have all of your exhibits. You have to make sure that you've prepped with the attorney, that you've prepared for cross and direct. By the way, your job is to help the trier of fact make a decision, not to represent any side, regardless of who's paying you. Everyone gets paid except for the jury, or the jury gets paid poorly, depending on the state.
Oh yeah.
But your job is to help the trier of fact understand the facts in the case and to represent it accurately. There are going to be definitively things that the attorneys don't understand technically. Um, And so they might ask you the question wrong. And so they may ask you a question that just doesn't make technical sense. And you may have to ask them to rephrase. But your goal there is to make the trier of fact understand this technical concept. And so that's done through analogies, through being able to give clear and concise explanations. The goal is not to look smart up there. The goal is to make the trier of fact understand the data. And that's data that you understand because you've tested it. Now, I've also had to turn over my test data in court before. So you have to make sure that everything that you've done has got the providence of somebody's life or livelihood depending on what you do. It's a very serious and heavy onus that needs to be taken with that level of seriousness. And you do need hours and hours and hours of prep. And it is no easy task. There are people who make it look easy, but it is no easy task.
All right. So, I mean, do people like, since it's so heavy and so brutal, I mean, are there people that like that's their jam, like that's their side hustle?
There are people who do like to testify, but the definition of the word forensic, so a lot of times we say DFIR together, digital forensics incident response. Digital forensic means that there's the potentiality of the data being used for court. That's what the word forensic means.
Okay.
Incident response means that, which use a lot of the same techniques and tools, means that you're doing it in response to some kind of cybersecurity event to get everything back to normal or running or safe and secure. So and in both you do root cause analysis, in both you may be making forensic images and using the same tools and methodologies, but the end game is different. There are people who will never testify but still do forensics because of the type of cases they do, or a lot of their cases may plead out based on the evidence. But you have to kind of accept, but expert witness testimony is a skill. Testifying. We actually just started a class on expert witness testimony that one of my senior examiners, Kim Bradley with Kentucky State Police, and an attorney who works with us who's been both a prosecutor and a defense attorney, Robert Peters, they actually write and deliver that course together, that expert witness testimony course, because it is a skill that you need to understand how to do, because there's so much you need to know, such as how do you communicate with your attorney? How do you prep for trial? How do you prepare exhibits? How do you create analogies? And really, you need to go through moot court to prepare. So there's a lot.
That's crazy. And this is pretty rare air. I've never heard of an expert witness course. So here, I'm going to drop that in chat in case there's a senior practitioner in chat right now who, is exploring that or is wanting to learn a bit more about it, perhaps.
Now, what's also important about delivering expert witness testimony is also sometimes you wind up writing the questions because you understand technically. You wind up helping the attorneys craft the questions for your opposing experts as well. So that's something people don't always think about, that sometimes you get to help craft those technical, well, these are the things I would ask.
Oh, that is interesting. Can the final question I have, just out of pure, intellectual curiosity. So like, let's say that, you're either side, it could be the defense, could be the prosecutor. Like if they don't like what you're saying, I mean, will they like kind of try to attack your credibility? Like,
absolutely. But they're doing their job. It's not personal. It's not personal. I will tell you, do you know what's always the most awkward thing for me? I know my case. I prepped for my case. I always hate talking about myself. I'm always nervous I'm going to misspell my name, which sounds really weird. But because I'm always like, you're slightly nervous when you start. But then once you're in the routine, you're up there and you're doing fine. But it's if you care, it should be an intense feeling in the pit of your stomach, just like if you're going to give a presentation.
Yeah.
Right. It just means you care, and that's okay. So people shouldn't be discouraged about that. That's just a sign that they care, and you want to do your best, and you want to accurately represent the facts in the case of the matter.
I love it. Well, and thank you, Jessica, and thank you everybody for hearing about that particular piece, because I wanted to know that. So Jessica, before we round out of here, I mean, we've talked about Hexordia's courses and, what you've got going on. DEF CON just passed. Where can people get themselves some more Jessica Hyde? What's going on? What do you
got? So please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. But more importantly, we have a podcast about digital forensics. called Truth and Data podcast.
It's on
And
Hexordia?
it's on our YouTube.
Okay.
I'm so bad. We don't even have a link to it on our website. I should probably change that. I'm not
Is
very
there
good at
is
that
there a link to your
advertising thing.
YouTube on the website?
Probably. I don't know. YouTube.com. We're at Hexordia, like YouTube. Oh, yeah. Right down there on the bottom.
This one?
Probably. Right there. Yeah. All the way at the bottom underneath me. Yeah. There you go.
There we go. So we got a podcast
Yeah,
coming
right there.
on. So
Truth and Data. And so we talk about all different topics. There is one about breaking into DFIR, but if you're considering digital forensics, and there's one thing I should say about the field is there is a lot of exposure to the things you'd never want to see. And there's a really good episode in there that we did recently about wellness that if someone's considering the field, I would suggest they listen to just so they make sure that they're prepared for that. Because I've seen a lot of people get into the field and not really know that was an important thing to know. They were all jazzed about the technical, but you see the worst of humans. So it is something you need to understand that you're going to have to deal with in this field.
I love it. So we've dropped Jessica's podcast. It's a link right there. It's on YouTube. You can go check that out. Also, quick shout out to my 10-year-old who just jumped into the stream and said, "Yo, I didn't know y'all were live streaming." Hi, Callan.
Hi, Callan.
My little son. I love him. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So go check out Hexordia's YouTube channel. Hexordia.com is Jessica's website. They've got tons of training. It is a digital forensics company, so they do work with the government.
Oh, you know what? There's a walk on the Hexordia.com. There's a walkthrough and resources. We've got tutorials on how to use like 15 free digital forensics tools. So if you're looking to get your feet wet and want to play with some free tools, so if you hit that checklist resources at the top, sorry.
Resources at the top.
Resources at the top. Walkthroughs and walkthroughs. There you go. If you scroll down through there, these are all how to use all these different free and open source forensics tools. So we have videos and PDF documents to walk you through how to use them, and then you can play with data.
Damn.
So no better way to learn than to play with data.
I told you guys, I said when Jessica's here, she takes the dump truck full of value and just puts a load right on the driveway, right next to like the mulch and stuff. And it just, look at this, Autopsy and Driller. By the way, Autopsy gave away free training right at the beginning of COVID, if you remember. Mm-hmm. And I never heard of it before. And I swear to God, I thought it said Auto Spy. I called it Auto Spy for like months.
That's hysterical. I used to work for Brian Carrier, who wrote Autopsy. I used to work for Basis Technologies.
Is that right? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
way back in the day. But yeah, FQLite, that's a free forensics tool for looking at SQLite databases. So you could play with SQLite databases and see what data you can recover and all kinds of fun stuff.
Look at this. Full PDF walkthroughs.
Full PDF walkthroughs and a YouTube video to go with each.
Yeah, screenshot, YouTube walkthroughs, tutorials. Like the whole thing's here. This isn't just like some lead magnet where it's like,
do you want to hear something
funny? What's that? Go for it.
There's a walkthrough in there of HXD, which is a hex editor, which everyone should learn how to use a hex editor.
Yep.
And out of nowhere, that hex editor view got like 20,000 views out of nowhere one day. I'm like, why'd everybody hit this HXD editor? So I went to find the search terms that were bringing it there. Apparently in Fortnite, people could edit they could get some free skins if they edited some of the hex. And somebody said, hey, use this tutorial to figure out how to use a hex editor to do it. So all these Minecraft kids started subscribing to our YouTube channel because they were using it to edit their skins to get free things in Minecraft.
There you go. And I'm sure we probably just saw one download from my IP address as my son Callan.
Oh, I forgot your son was listening.
He falls in that demographic.
I'm teaching him how to hack his yeah, so
Fortnite,
I thought it was funny. Anyway, the things you go viral for in forensics.
Get them started early. Find something that resonates with them.
But you know what? That's the future, right? That's the future.
Heck yeah. All right, y'all. Hey, we've been talking with Jessica Hyde, digital forensics expert, founder, Marine veteran, friend of mine, and just an amazing, amazing individual. On behalf of the entire Simply Cyber community, Jessica, thank you so very much for taking time out of your day to be with us, educate, inspire, and entertain all at once. It's been really just a heck of a show, and I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you all for joining in. The great questions. You are also inspiring. Love you all.
It's so good. All right, everybody. Until tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. I'm Jerry. She's Jessica. Until next time, stay secure.